What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DJ Arco.
And I am the queen, and you are tuned in to Boss Talk.
Today we have a very, very extremely special guest with us today. A lot of the things that you see going on in the skate community is because of this individual. So I am very excited to be able to get you here with us today. Well, of course, it's through Zoom because of everything that's going on. But I'm just going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the very, very, very
esteemed honor.
Yes, of having. Go ahead and state your name.
I'm Richard Humphrey.
That is correct. We have the man Richard Humphrey with us today on Skaters Connect, y'all, and I'm excited. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Okay, so the number one question that we always ask our guests is, how long have you been skating?
I've been skating now for about 44 years. About 44 years. That's about 44 years is correct. And I haven't stopped. That's the fun part.
At no break at any time.
The only breaks that I had was either due to an injury or something. But that was pretty much it. And those were just like not long periods of time, just short breaks. Skating is something I love to do, Yeah. I mean, it's fun, as we all know,
Right.
And, man, I remember the first time that I literally went to a roller rink and I was like, whoa, this is cool, But if I backtrack a little bit, I actually skated when I was a kid, and I used to skate a lot. I mean, in the neighborhood that I grew up in the Fillmore of San Francisco in the 50s. So I don't have a problem telling my age. I was born in 1952. I was skating when I was about 3, 4, 5 years old.
Okay.
And I skated a lot. And so that went on for a few years, until I found some other passions, but I started skating at an early age, and then I took a small break.
Mm-hmm.
But then I started again up in the early 70s, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow.
So was skating generational in your family, or is this something like your parents just gave you skates and y'all just went out and skated, or?
Yeah, that was, back in the 50s, there wasn't a whole lot to do, We were making stuff, and those clip-on skates, those strap-on skates. I mean, those were the bomb diggity skates back then. I mean, I still, I enjoyed them so much that one day I was at a flea market and I saw a pair and I said, you know what? I just got to get me a pair just to have them.
Okay.
And so I bought a pair and I got them sitting in my garage, and I have some skate keys to go with it. And so yeah, we had the skate key. That was really the thing. I mean, there was nothing else in between. We had a few skaters in the neighborhood. If they had like roller derby skates or something like that, where they can just put them on and didn't have to worry about them coming off, the straps breaking or something coming loose. We kind of envied those skaters then, that was cool. But we had the strap-ons, but we didn't know any better. That's what we did.
Wow. So tell us about the roller dance, because this is something that is kind of a staple in the skate community. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, when I started, when I actually started dancing on my skates, nobody was dancing on skates. I mean, it was all about, when you went to the rink, everybody just skated around a circle. And there was no middle. The middle was just wide open. I mean, every night, every session. Nobody was in the middle, not unless somebody skated through the middle. So, I've always been pretty athletic. I've been very athletic my whole life. And I've always been one to try things. So I just started trying stuff. Nobody else was doing it. I didn't have nobody else to watch. So I just started doing little steps and trying stuff, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Then one step led to another, then tried something else because I know now that I've always been pretty much an inventive type of person. I've always tried to do things that other people were not doing, and I feel that way today. So when I don't see people doing something, I try to do something. So, but little did I know back then that the roller dance, would become what it is.
Yeah.
One of the things that I really want to say is this is interesting because when I started, we had all of these names with skating that was, skate dancing and uh, hip hop dancing and all kind of, everybody had names, for that phase, disco roller skating. And, I always felt like I was a dancer. So I decided that, and I told my relatives, my wife, everybody else, I want to create a name that would identify with what we actually do, dance on skates. So I started using that phrase, roller dance. But unfortunately, we didn't have social media. We didn't have Facebook and all that, YouTube and all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of held on to it and said, maybe one day it will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So the internet kicked in. So when the internet kicked in, I was like, okay, this would be the fun time now to put my platform out there, roller dance.
Mm-hmm.
So I started my website, rollerdance.com, in 1996, and I've had it ever since. And interesting is that when people spell the word roller dance, they spell it in two words, roller and dance.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be unique, so I spelled it all one word, roller dance. Mm-hmm. But doing my history and doing all my research and all this kind of stuff is that I actually couldn't own the phrase roller dance because it was kind of common, with skating, so I couldn't own it. But the way I looked at it is like, well, I'm gonna spell it differently by spelling it one word. So rollerdance.com was created in 96, but actually long before that in my brain.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was real excited about it, and I had no idea, back in 1996, what would be happening today. And the interesting thing is that today, everybody hashtags
Yeah.
Right? Everybody hashtags roller dance, but nobody has really, I don't think, ever really done any research to see when it actually started. Who actually, like we like to ask questions. Who started that? Who put that word out there?
Right.
And no one else ever used it. So I used it, and I've been using it ever since. And now on Instagram, and everybody else's name and grandmama name is Mama Nim Roller Dance. So I just find that pretty interesting.
So you guys heard it here first. He is the originator of roller dance. Mm-hmm. So let me ask you this. When you first started doing it, how was the people's perception of it? Were they like, what is he doing in the middle?
Yeah.
Or was it easy for them to pick it up? Or how was that for you?
Well, I found this really interesting. We got some great skaters in the skate world.
Yeah.
We got a lot of people can't dance.
That's true.
That's what I really found to be different. You can skate and freestyle and do a lot of things, but a lot of people actually can't just get a spot and do moves and do dances and choreography. So today, a lot of the skaters that I see tend to focus on a move, one move. Mm-hmm. That's okay. Mm-hmm. But I've always focused on the big pictures, choreography. Mm-hmm. So from day one, I've always focused on one move that flows to the next, to the next, to the next. It becomes a dance. This is really interesting, and a lot of people don't know that in 1995, I got really excited about a lot of what I was doing and just doing research and watching TV and watching other people do other things, I was trying to figure out or find something that I could make a platform for. And in 1995, this booklet right here says roller dancing or workout on skates.
Wow.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is 1995. And in 1995, it says
Oh, we actually lost your. I think somebody was calling you.
I was before my time with a lot of things because there was no such thing.
Right.
Yeah.
For dance anything.
Yeah.
So I took upon the task of putting this guide together, and it's interesting because I use this phrase a lot. It says, when done correctly, these steps are a great way to exercise and have fun at the same time for everyone. So I found that it was bringing people together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It brought other people together. And today, it has brought a lot of people together. A lot of people.
So when you have people that come to your classes that are roller dance challenged, how easy is it for them, for you to teach them to pick up on those steps?
Well, this is what I do know. A lot of people have left foots and right foots.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody don't have that thing, that bounce,
Right,
that
right.
rhythm. Everybody don't have it. Because I've been doing it so long, I've learned all the little tricks of the trade to break it down, to be patient with people, to just show them, just like a baby learning how to walk. And when you give them that time, eventually they kind of pick it up.
Okay.
So a lot of people today in the skate world are learning from other people.
Yeah.
And then when they learn from other people, then they start showing other people. That's a great thing. The only thing that I've always, my biggest thing is that sometimes it's okay to give credit to other people before us, or whoever taught us, or whatever we may have learned something from. And if you didn't, that's okay too, because I didn't have a teacher. I didn't have a mentor. I didn't have somebody who took me up under their wings.
Right.
So I learned on my own. So I focused a lot on just, okay, so what am I going to do with this?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just hold on to it? Because a lot of skaters are selfish, period. That's my move. So, you're doing my steps. You know, I've heard that a lot, you know. That's okay. But my biggest thing in life is that it's great having a talent, but I have more fun sharing what I do than I just holding it on for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I get a lot of my satisfaction from.
Yeah.
And I always have. So when somebody see me doing something, they say, Rich, man, can you show me how to do that? No problem. Let me show you. Because I've already broke it down a million times. So now I have this phrase that I always use. My students will always tell you. I said, let me break it down. Let me break it down.
Yeah.
So
there it is for those with the two left and right feet. It says y'all can get it together.
Yeah.
So I mean, you do have a lot of videos, and one of the ones I want people to look at is back in 1978. You did your first choreographed dance at the Grand Arena in San Francisco. But what y'all need to check out is the brother did it in bell bottoms, and he walks it.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So how was that?
That was oh man, that was pretty awesome. That particular night, those particular pictures, because we didn't have videos at that time.
Right.
We didn't have the cameras and all that stuff going. That particular night, Janet Jackson was supposed to be there at the rink.
Oh,
we were supposed to skate with Janet Jackson that night. And it was crazy. The line was all the way out the door, down the street. People just started freaking out, and they kind of bum rushed the front door, pushed the wall down, changed the whole night. Janet Jackson wound up not coming that night.
Yeah.
So we were actually paid by a radio station to do, a dance and stuff. And so those photos that was captured that night with that KSFX on it, that was a radio station. But back then, when we skated and stuff like that, we listened to the radio a lot. We waited until a song come on to dance, but we had KSFX at the radio station. I mean, at the rink that night. So, but that particular dance, it was not difficult. It was some easy moves that we've done a lot of times, but to be able to make it look good when you got other people watching, that's kind of key, So we focused on it. We practiced a lot, and people came to me to teach them how to dance. Because everybody was good skaters, but nobody really danced. And I focused on that ever since.
Wow.
So would you say you had a career in roller skating, or did you do something outside of roller skating? Roller skating was the hobby and you had your own job, or did you have a career of roller skating?
No, actually, I had other things that I did. Actually, I've been a bowler all my life.
Oh, wow.
Bowling alley.
Wow. Okay.
Bowling. I'm a bowling alley kid. I grew up literally in a bowling alley. And bowling was always been my number one passion. It still is. But I love to skate. So I found a medium. So let me just say this. Like I said, I've been athletic my whole life. I've found a lot of things that I like to do. And when I do something, I try to put my all in it. I try to do it 100%. I can't do it if I can't do it 100%. So I bowled, I practiced a lot. When I started skating, I practiced when nobody was practicing. I was doing my thing when nobody else did it. I'm a very avid table tennis player. I've been doing that for over 40 years. So I've been able to put all these things together. I could do one right after the other and not miss a heartbeat. So there's certain things that I like to do. So, but the skating thing, when we get back to the skating thing, I tell people I found my niche. I found it. And I found something that nobody was doing. I used to get up every morning and I used to watch, there was a show, exercise show, and the lady would come on every morning. Her name was Denise Austin. And Denise Austin exercised every morning, and she just would show people how to do this. And I was like, man, how can I do that with skating? And then I would put my skates on. I'd be on the ground. I'd be doing exercises, trying to emulate some of the stuff that she was doing, and all kind of stuff. And it was like, wow. I mean, because nobody does this, right?
Right.
I see it now. But nobody was doing it back then. Like exercising on skates. It's like, woo, who does that? So the long and short of this thing with the skating is that, like, one of the first dance routines or one of the few that I did, roller dancing or workouts out on skates had a very big meaning to it. It wasn't just putting on skates and just skating around in a circle. It was literally a workout. So as I created names of steps, I kept getting everything. I mean, and I wrote them down. I got books. I got stuff, notes everywhere. Every time I created in my mind a step, I put a name to it. And I did, and I have done that for 40 years.
Wow.
So everything has a name.
Okay.
So it's interesting, like right now, there's a step. And you probably, if you've seen a lot of people in the middle doing this line dance, it's, lateral, it's a lateral move, cross front, cross back. And interesting enough today now, people call it, and I'm glad that I'm saying this because I want it to be known.
Y'all pay attention right now.
This particular move, they call it the downtown.
I know exactly what you're talking
Now,
about.
I do not have one step in my repertoire called the downtown. Not one. So that means that somebody changed the names
Yeah.
or name, but they identify the downtown as this one particular move when there's lots of moves. So all of them can't be the downtown. Make sense? So now, check this out. And I made it a point that in my table of contents, it says regular, long, short, triple, full turn, half back now, tap, A turn, triple, rocking around the world.
Wow.
All of those names cannot be downtown.
Right.
Wow.
Cannot be. Because if I'm dancing and I said, okay, we're going to do the downtown, and I'm doing the A turn, and you're doing something different than I'm doing, what was that? So you got to give it a name. So I want to make this very clear that name recognition is everything.
Yeah.
And so this was really interesting. Back in the 90s, or when I first came out with my first VHS video, because I was one of the first on the web to have roller dance workout video on VHS. The first that as I traveled and people would ask me about my video because we didn't have social media then, I would bring some with me. So, hey man, you got any of those videos, you know, because people heard. So I sold some videos, and then one particular person got my video, and I saw him about a year later. So he decided, hey, Rich, I got something exciting I want to show you. He came to my house in San Francisco to show me his excitement. And I started looking at the video, and I'm going, wait, hold up. All you did was take everything that I've done and change the names. Why you do that? You can't do that.
Yeah.
So wrong. So wrong. To this day, 24, 25 years later, people are following the names that he started calling back then.
Wow.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Now here's the other thing. The other thing, I didn't know a lot about how do you go about doing certain things as far as protection of your work.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Important.
But I did a lot of research. So I found out that I could copyright my work. And I was like, oh, okay. So that little insignia right there, copyright 1995, I always felt like it was a protection for my work. But a lot of people don't know that, you know. So when people jump out there and they're doing that line dance and go, yeah, we call it the such and such. It's like, well, is it wrong to call it what it was? It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, or who influenced you? Or where did you learn that from? Did you learn that from the internet? You know, so we're talking, this is 2020. So a lot of the new skaters now are 25 years old or whatever. Right. So that meant that these well existed long before many of them were born.
Yeah.
I've been doing it that long. And I haven't stopped. And so then I go on YouTube or whatever, and people say, oh yeah, this is how you do the downtown. And then they get 50,000 hits, and it's not the way I do it, you know? So I've always tried to break things down and say, this is exactly how I've always done it, and it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
But I always said that this would give people a foundation to do something else. So when it comes to roller dance, this is the way it worked for me. So my first video had 13 steps, which is in this book. Okay. And one of the painstaking things that I did, and this was hard, I didn't realize how difficult it was. But you could see that.
Oh, yeah.
They made us of every single move, where your feet should be, There's nothing like this that exists in the world in roller dance anywhere.
Wow.
Period.
Wow.
If you look and do your research, you won't see this.
Wow.
So, man, to do all those steps, I mean, I put hours in. And so now, interesting enough is that after I did the book, a lot of people were like, well, that's great, but I want to see a video. So then I came right out with the video. And then after I did the video, then people said, can you do it on inline skates? And I was like, well, yeah. But this is a fun thing. I was anti-inline skates. Totally
so I am. I ain't gonna lie. I tried inline skates one time. I'm like, yeah, nah, I can't do this.
So I went on my lunch hour to a high school, and I did a video with inline skates on, just so I could have a video so people could visualize what it looks like on inline skates.
Yeah.
So I did it. It wasn't fun. Inline skates are not for everybody.
Yeah.
They're certainly not the best to dance in, to doing a lot of different moves, period. And the reason why I did it at that time was that there was a figure skater called Christy Yamaguchi, who was a world-class ice skater. And I had the task of being able to teach her at Golden Gate Park in 1995 how to dance on skates. So, but at that time, it was interesting because quad skating was hot from, especially outdoor skating, from late 70s, 79, all the way up until about, it fizzled out a lot, probably in the middle 80s. So around 89, 90, you start hearing inline skating popping up. And it was like, oh, okay. The media kicked the quad skaters to the curb.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah.
And I was teaching skaters how to dance on skates, but they didn't even look at me. I'm the one teaching them how to dance on skates. So if an inline skater came through and did a little bust a move or whatever, oh, let's get him and let's hire him and pay him to do some shows or whatever, and couldn't skate a lick. Just look cute.
Wow.
So so in my studio, when I first started, I said, you know what, I'm not teaching inline skaters, period. So they would call me up and say, Rich, you do inlines? Nope. And then I said, you know what? This is a business. So I can't do that. So I opened up the door. And so I do not discriminate.
Yeah.
No longer when it comes to what people want to skate with.
Yeah.
So I'm open to teaching anyone. If they want to use inline skates, that's fine. And I have found that some of them are pretty good at it. Some of them are really good at it. That's what they choose, and that's fine. But the bottom line is that they still got to learn the moves, right? So that's pretty much.
Right. So let me ask you this. Now, your style's roller dance. So when you hear people use other terms for roller dance, how does that make you feel? You know?
Oh man, I kind of cringe a little bit sometimes because this is the way I defined dancing on skate as an art, as an art form, not just doing a move, but having some substance behind it. Because in '79, I had a skating group. We were called the Golden Rollers. And we were like, I felt like nobody could touch the Golden Rollers back then. We were just, because nobody else was doing it. So this is really interesting, is that when you have something that nobody else have, you have to somewhat be a little selfish. We were selfish. At least I was anyway. I wouldn't teach other people what we were doing. It kind of made sense because if we taught everybody what we did, everybody else would do it and go and get paid or whatever. So I was very selfish. I wouldn't teach anyone else what we did. All these moves and stuff, right? Like in this book right here, I wouldn't teach it to anybody else because we were doing shows, we were performing and all kind of stuff. And it was like, so we wanted to be unique. So when they stopped skating with me in the early 90s, it just opened up a door for me to go and do my thing, you know? So then I felt it was a great opportunity to now teach all the things that I know, if not more.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it almost reminds me of back in grade school when you used to sit in that circle and you would start telling somebody something, and as it goes along, it just kind of,
whole story changes.
yeah, how the whole story changes and it just loses, I mean, its whole context. But you know,
with the trademark, when you trademark your steps, once you went to that point, and you had people still renaming or doing things, and you knew that these were your steps, had you ever at any point wanted to pursue them in a legal manner? Or you were just like, oh, this is just like just disrespectful and I'm just gonna let them roll with it? Or what was, I know it left a bad taste in your mouth, but had you ever done anything legally to stop them from doing that, or did you just keep it as it was?
we lost your
Audio.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I heard the question. What's interesting is that the way, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So the way I design these steps, they have a flow from one to the next to the next. It created a dance, literally a dance workout. So that's what made it unique. So it's choreographed. What's happening today is people are just taking a step,
Okay.
and doing their thing with it. So what's interesting is that the only people that pretty much know what's in this book and know this complete dance are students of mine. Those who've actually taken my class and who knows every single name. So when I yell out a name, when I go to my class, say, hey, A turn, and everybody, A turn. If I said that to you, you would go like, what's an A turn?
Like, let me watch that real quick.
What was that?
And I was like, I'll be like, let me just watch it real quick so I can see what it is.
Right. So what happens is, so people, like even at skate parties and stuff, you know, they'll see a step and they go like, oh, I know that. And then they realize really quickly they don't know it.
Right.
Because it's not the way that they do it. You know, they see a portion of it. Yeah. So it's a lot of work that actually went into this particular dance. And so what you were saying about people taking your stuff and doing other things with it, I don't have a problem with people doing some of the stuff that I do. What I've learned from other teachers and people out in the world of whatever they do, people just like recognition. We just like to be recognized. You know, we can't police what everybody see, you know, because the internet is worldwide. It's public domain when people see it. Yeah. So, but I've always just said, you know what, it's like, give them his props. Okay. Yeah. You know, I have a friend in New Jersey, a really good friend of mine in New Jersey. His name is Charles Edwards. Charles is a very good friend of Eric Austin. We know each other very well. I used to tell Charles, I'm gonna teach you 3 steps. I'm gonna teach you regular, long, and short. That's what so if somebody say, oh, can you teach me that? Yeah, you teach that. But if they want the rest, they got to come and get the video, right? Because if that's the case, then everybody just take the stuff and everybody's doing it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting now, and a lot of people may not even pay attention to it, but this particular line dance, is done all over the world. It's worldwide. There's a video that I haven't seen yet worldwide somewhere there's someone's not doing one of those steps worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like that virus. It spread it somewhere. Where did it come from?
Yeah.
You don't wake up in the morning, okay? You don't wake up in the morning as a new skater, even a advanced skater, and just know how to do everybody's moves.
Mm-hmm.
It don't happen like that.
Right.
You get on your YouTube or whatever you do, and you watch it, and you focus. Oh, I'm gonna learn that, and then you get it. That's usually how it works.
Mm-hmm.
Because choreography is unique. I can't dance like Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I've done dance to Michael Jackson videos, I cannot move like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I move like me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm flattered when I see people doing it, you know. But hey, I've talked to people. I've sat down at many of the skating events. It says, I noticed that, you know, you're doing these particular steps. Where'd you learn those steps from? And they go, yeah, well, we do that in our class. I say, well, what do they call that?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the names in this book.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, yeah, we call it the da-da-da-da-da. I said, well, let me ask you, let me show you something. Pull out video. Are these the steps right here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we do. I said, well, I think this should tell you a little something, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it just don't happen overnight.
Right.
You know, the video is there. The videos are there. If people just do a little research, you know. So I've learned that anything that I do in life, I have to do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta be a student.
Yeah.
So when people start doing certain things, it's like if you're trying to get trademarks, copyrights, or patents, you have to go and do research.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't just say, oh, okay. Oh, I did this. And you go like, oh, somebody else is doing that already? That's a bummer. And you can't do nothing about it.
Right.
Right? So it's okay to give credit where credit's due. That's all. And I respect what other people are doing out there,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So I won't step on nobody's toes,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So, like I said, I've been through a lot with the skating thing. I've done a lot of behind the scenes things that people don't even know about. So, so when we talk about roller dance and skating and how things have worked for me over the years, I've been at the right places at the right time, and things happened. So, for example, I was on the Dr. Oz show. I was on the Dr. Oz show in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
How did I get on the Dr. Oz show? Man, that was kind of interesting because they found me, right?
Mm.
So, roller dance. Dr. Oz wanted to learn how to roller dance.
Dr. Oz. Wow. Wow.
So they found me. They called me. Richard, can you come to New York and teach Dr. Oz how to dance on skates? Man, that was like, what? Seriously? So, man, I jumped all over that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was like an opportunity that I could not pass up. The interesting thing is that months before that, I had some surgery. And I was like, man, am I going to be able to do this? And I told myself, I'm going to New York. Hurt or no hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is my opportunity. So you've seen the Dr. Oz show before,
Yes,
haven't you?
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Was he a good student?
So let me break it down. Let me show you how it went. So they said, what are you going to teach Dr. Oz? So I had enough time to think about it. I said, you know what? I'm going to create a dance called the Oz dance.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Something simple, something really, really easy. I sent them a video on how to do it. So normally Dr. Oz always have some type of audience participation and stuff like that and get people to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, how will I be able to demonstrate this, you know, and show it? So I reached out to some friends of mine in New York. And I said, hey, I'd like to have you guys come and join me on the Dr. Oz show. Would you be up for that? I did that. I reached out.
Nice.
People don't know that because, you know, I don't boast about things. I just said, hey, I know some people that I think will make this look good. So if you get a chance on YouTube, there's a video, Dr. Oz roller dance, and you'll see me teach.
Put it on the app. Yeah, definitely.
So what I did was, this was really cool, is that in 2009, I had the opportunity of a lifetime to get my own boot made, my own custom boot. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to send Dr. Oz a pair in advance. So in that video, you'll see Dr. Oz is dancing with me in the boot that I call the Richard Humphrey No Strings Attached. It's the first boot, and I can say this to whoever's watching, it's the first boot ever made by Rydell with no laces.
That's correct.
The first in 60 years. So that's an accomplishment that I felt really good about, especially being a black man, black skater who has his own product, which I dreamed about in the 70s and 80s when I used to make my own custom boots. And I literally said one day I'd like to have my own boot. It happened 20 plus years later. It did happen.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So got on the Dr. Oz show, taught Dr. Oz how to do 3 steps. So we didn't have any rehearsals. It was live.
Oh, man. Oh.
So what you see on that video is live. I walked out, and then he said, "Oh, you're doing that crossover thing, you know?" Well, this is what I did. I tightened down all his wheels so he couldn't roll.
Okay.
He had no roll, so he can literally just step, just like walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, that's one way to get him to do right.
Yeah.
I was gonna wonder how is that gonna work with Dr. Oz, because don't seem like he have much rhythm.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your boot. Like, how did that all come about? Because we're starting to see skaters come out with their own brands of skates and everything, which is great, because they're helping to push the culture forward. But as far as you and Rydell, how did that all come about?
Well, one of my best friends who's no longer with us, his name is Lee Cole. Lee Cole was one of the owners of Skates on Haight, which is one of the oldest skate stores in San Francisco. Like over 40 years, nobody else had a skate store. He had it, and we've been friends for a very long time. I mean, he's always consulted with me about things and skates and things like that. So in 2007, 2008, we hooked up, and I was actually working at the store building skates. And all of a sudden it was like, man, I told Lee, I said, Lee, it would be awesome to be able to have my own boot. So he reached out to Rydell. Rydell thought it was a pretty cool idea. So I went out to Minnesota, met with Rydell, told him what I would like. And they said, well, we've never done a boot like that before. I said, well, that's okay. That's good. To have something that nobody else has ever done.
First time for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who skates with boots that have no laces? So the way I came about the no strings boot is that I've watched skaters all them years with their tongues hanging down, right? Well, they just slip their foot right in the boot, right? They just slip their foot right in the boot. So I was like, so that boot is really loose, So, and I did my research, and I was like, man, maybe I'll just give it a try and see how it works. So Rydell built me the boot, but the first boot that we built had no strap at all. It had nothing. I just thought it was going to work. I put my foot in it and I go like, oh, this ain't going to work. So I went to a cobbler and I said, "Can you put a strap on there?" He put a strap on there. Put a strap on there. One strap.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back to Rydell and I said, "This is it right here.
Mm.
That's the way they make my boot, and they only make that boot for me." So that's how that came about.
Wow.
And it's kind of nice. I mean, I actually have, they even created me an insignia where my name is engraved in that boot. So if somebody took my boots, it's going to have my name in the boot.
I'm going to find you. That is so cool because, like nowadays, like it seems like you really did a lot more in the designing of the boot. Nowadays, people say they designed a boot when they actually purchased a boot that was already pre-designed and they just customized it a little bit, not actually designing the boot itself. So it's a little bit a different dynamic when you actually design from the sole to the sides and how everything fits versus you taking a boot and just customizing it than fully designing a boot.
Yeah. So how long was that process?
Yeah, because when you cut, how long was it?
Yeah, the whole process from start to finish.
You know what? They probably, it really didn't take them long. If you think about it, they didn't have to punch any holes.
Right.
Yeah.
But what's interesting about this boot is that it has a strap on the outside, but it also has an elastic strap on the inside that actually holds your foot in pretty snug.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
You just can't see it.
Yeah.
But it's in there. So, and so at the time, I didn't have a ton of money because it takes money to do stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I had 100 pair made, 100 pair.
Mm-hmm.
So there's only 100 now. There's probably 120 pair of Richard Humphrey no strings attached floating somewhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So these were limited editions.
So, pardon me?
These were limited editions.
I made it that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want everybody to have a pair, but I have found now that there are a lot of people out there that have problems with their hands and arthritis and a whole bunch of other things that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people reach out to me and say, "Rich, how could I get a pair?"
Mm-hmm.
So I can have them made.
Okay, Rich, how can I get a pair?
So yes, I can have them made.
Okay.
And I could. Rydell makes my boots even to this day, and just so happens this particular one right here, I just got these actually last week. It took 6 months to get these with the pandemic and everything else, but I've been waiting for this boot. This is my Golden State Warrior colors, if you notice that blue and gold.
I'm gonna tell you something. I feel like I'm looking at a Bugatti.
I know, right?
Because that mug, blue, I don't think I've ever seen a blue, that blue, and it's gold. I mean, gold trucks, gold, gold. Wow.
And where's your name engraved?
It's where do they have it at? You can't see it in this blue, but it's right here.
Okay.
Ooh, wow.
It's engraved in there.
That is wow.
Does it come in different colors, or is it the blue and gold? That was your signature color?
What my original color was black and silver.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah,
that was the original color.
Mm-hmm.
The black and silver, and then you know what? I thought, can they do me a gold one? So I was like, can you do me a gold one? So they made me a gold tongue.
Okay.
And so I had some of those made. So I got the blue. So the color. Then I actually have a tan pair. The first pair that they sent me, comfortable. Oh my goodness, it's like this. It's in my little shrine. I have a little shrine of all my boots, and I own 15 pair of skates. Okay. And I build every last one of them exactly the same.
Wow.
So the sizing, everything is always the same. I'm an NTS kind of guy. I'm a sure grip NTS plate kind of guy. I know that there's a lot of plates out there people swear by, but this is what I do know. A lot of people wouldn't know what another plate felt like because most people don't try other plates.
Different plates, right? Yeah.
Right. A lot of people get a boot or their first skate. They go like, "This is what I've always used, so I don't know what else is out there. This is what I've always used." Snyder's. So now you have all these different plates out there. The one thing that I do know, they got a lot of great designs out there and everything like that. But at the end of the day, most of these plates do the same thing. They go left and they go right. They don't go up and they don't go down.
Yeah.
Okay. And what people also have to understand is that we have some skaters that just got unique talent.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
They have a balance, and you can watch them all day and go, "How is he doing that?" That's the uniqueness of this whole skate world.
Yeah.
If he's good, if he's really, really good, he could put on a pair of the cheapest Chicago skates and do the same thing.
Yeah.
He'll do the same thing because he has that talent.
Right.
Before, a lot of all these custom boots and stuff that people have made now, people were buying Chicago's cheap plastic nylons and putting on really good wheels and bearings, skating their behinds off, doing phenomenal things. And then when the nylon starts tearing up in some of the states that I've watched, they strap that stuff up with duct tape.
Yep, and they keep it going.
Right on about their business.
Keep it going.
And they keep it going.
I was one of them.
Okay. I think Shea Butter said that too. She started in her Chicago's. We talked to Shea Butter, and that was her first pair. So
you usually roll until they fall apart, you know, because that's how mine were. Mine were a pair of Chicago's, and I changed out the wheels. I even changed the plates, the bearings, but I kept the boot. And one day I was skating, and all of a sudden they just split in half. You know, and I was just like, wow, okay. So,
guess we gotta get some more skates.
Yeah, you know. so yeah, I feel the pain.
And what I've also said to a lot of skaters is that it's just like a car. We start off with a Volkswagen, and then we finally start working our way up, and then decide you want to get you a Lexus.
Yeah.
Right. The Lexus look good, feel good. You know, when you walk in and you slap them Lexuses on your feet, be like, you just smiling just when you put them on. You know, whether you can skate or not, right?
Right.
So people used to do the same thing in tennis. They got all this great equipment and can't play a lick, right? So
but they look good.
They look good. Skating the same way, right? So along the lines of this boot, I was really, really excited about having my own boot line. Man, I've watched Olympic skaters, people out that are really doing big things in the world that don't have their name on anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So I felt really good about that.
Yeah.
So I had the boot, but man, what would be the greatest compliment as a skater would be to have your own wheel.
Okay.
So not too long after that, I partnered up with Bones, Roller Bones, which everybody know Roller Bones. So Roller Bones and I connected, and we created the Richard Humphrey golden. These are the silver, because these went with the silver boots. So those are the golden rollers, actually. The ones that match those. Those are the golden roller bones, and these are the silver roller bones.
Nice.
So I was doing this every day. So I got a chance to. I was in a candy store every day. That's what everybody, skaters don't get to do that. I got a chance to do that, play every day, to build, to customize, and and we sold literally thousands and thousands of these wheels, which they're no longer at. And I'm trying to get them to redo them again, but we're working on that right now. But the good part is that that's an accomplishment in my lifetime that I could pass on to my kids and grandkids and say that Papa did something, that nobody else did. So yeah, we have other skaters now that are coming out, but I can't say it was nice to be the first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I
So
feel like I'm
maybe
talking to the Michael Jordan of roller skating.
I know, right?
You got your own boot line, just how Jordan had his own boot line and everything, and and I'm just gonna say, I can't help it, but them boots is fly.
I know. So all I need is the boots, the wheels, and my video, and I'm gonna be on.
Man, wow.
Well, even before this particular boot, and even before these particular wheels, I actually had another wheel that I endorsed, that I actually kind of created.
Mm-hmm.
This wheel right here. See how big that wheel is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an inline wheel. The cool part about it is that it says right there, Richard Humphrey.
Yeah.
This is my first endorsed wheel.
Wow.
And see that rim, that silver rim?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we had other wheels like that in the store, and I was like, man, it'd be kind of cool to pimp a wheel out.
That's right.
Make it look like a dove, right? So I just put some creativity together. I painted the truck and everything, and put that bling, had it blinging, looking really good, 100 millimeter wheel, because this was for inline skating, right? At that particular time. So Lee liked the idea so much that he went overseas to China, and he had these made.
Wow.
Okay, we had thousands of these wheels made. But the interesting thing is, we didn't design it for inline roller skates. This particular wheel is called the quad line wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So the quad line is a combination. We came up with the name quad line, quad for skate, line for inline skating. Same concept. This is an outdoor skating wheel that I created a skate called it's called the quad line. My license plate on my car says quad line. And I know a lot of people.
I just trying to figure it out.
So the cool part is that these right here actually go on a roller skate.
Wow, those like 22s for roller skates.
How does this work for a roller skate? Because it's 100 millimeter wheels.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think outside the box. I watch, and I'm a custom car guy too. I'm into custom cars. So, how do you get 28s or 29s on a little hoopty? What do you have to do?
Shoot,
you got to jack the car up, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Then you fit the wheel underneath.
Yeah.
So I have a set of 100 millimeter wheels on my skates right now, and they are the dubs of outdoor roller skating.
Man.
Now you gonna have everybody in Texas rolling around like that with them dubs on, because we the kings of them big wheels.
So if you want, so this we don't. It's not produced anymore. But I have a way of doing a lot of things. I'm a creative person, so the name that I came up with, what I use, is called the Streamline, the 100 millimeter Streamline, and they setting up just like dubs.
Wow.
And at the time, a few years back, the skating scene was really jumping, and so there was a company in LA came up with some spinners.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Oh man! So if you remember, if anybody had any spinners, well, the cool part was they made me a set of spinners for these 100 millimeter wheels.
Oh, that's
so I had the only set of 100 millimeter spinners.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
So yeah. So if you look it up, there's some great videos on YouTube with quad lines, and you'll see the skate in action and me doing my thing. So. Man, I'm telling you, this whole skating thing is been a beautiful thing.
Been good to you, I see.
Yeah.
It's been really good to you. Wow.
And one other accomplishment that I have, so because people really don't understand the difference between, like I said, copyrights and patents
Mhm.
and trademarks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, copyrights is a body of work. So if you create a poem, create a song or whatever, you literally are creating your own copyrights.
Mm-hmm.
So the copyright's basically protected. So somebody else just can't just take my steps and start making another video and go out there and says, oh yeah, I created these and this is what we call it. So that's what it protects. You know, so I have not had to go that route. I've had to tell people, look, you've taken basically what's in my book and you put it in your videos and you're calling it yours.
Right.
Please give me credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
Put a video link to it to show other people that you
Yeah.
didn't create this.
Yeah.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, back in 1999, I kept thinking of ways that people can exercise in their homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I kept thinking, wow. And man, I'm gonna tell you, I don't even know anybody that owned a patent on anything.
Mm.
So I just went to work, and I created a product called the Roller Deck Plus. And you literally, it's a board. It was a board, just like a Nordic track machine.
Mm-hmm.
2 poles, go forward and backwards, but you have to have a board. So you just put it down on your carpet, and you do a Nordic track or exercise workout on your skates.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have nothing like that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
To this day. Nothing. So if you looked at all the videos, where are people skating now? Tennis courts, kitchens,
Yes.
living
Yes.
rooms,
Yeah.
basements,
Yeah.
everywhere,
Yeah.
trying to get that fix. It's a fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the roller deck was ahead of its time.
Yeah.
I knew that because it was like it wasn't skating wasn't hot like it is now.
Yeah.
So people, we're quarantined now. What do you do in the house? Man, so I created this workout. I actually have some videos on my YouTube page.
Mm-hmm.
And you actually see me doing some exercising. I posted some videos on Instagram recently. But I've created a great way to exercise on skates. It's exercise, you know? I mean, because when we put our skates on, that's what we're doing. We're exercising, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I put together a set of moves and things like that that people can follow and literally work out at home, you know? So I've always been about the skating. It's not about Richard. You know, I'm trying to find things for other people to do, you know?
Yeah.
Whether it be dancing on skates, whether it's whatever it is that I try to get people to do things, you know, to think outside the box. So that phrase works for me. Think outside the box.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing this. So how could I touch other people? You know, so, and I'm glad that I've been able to touch people through skating, you know, in my own little way,
Right.
you know, and I hope to continue to do that. I mean, that's kind of, you know, one of my goals. You know, people call me an OG, you know, and it was like, I used to hear people say, man, that's an OG. Man, what's OG? You know, old ink. I think that was the word they used to use, but I've kept myself in pretty good shape, you know, for all these years because skating did that. I will tell people today, roller skating is great for your body.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great because you don't jar your body like you do in other sports. I was a track guy. I ran track. I played football. I played pretty much every sport. But skating, man, was special. And when I started learning how to do things and learning how to choreograph and put stuff together, man, it just stuck with me. It resonated with me to this day. I mean, I'm driven by it. You know, you see a lot of people doing hip hop and things like that. They obviously are driven by something.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they keep doing. So my drive is me. You know, because like I said, I watch skaters. I see what people are doing, and I'm in awe of a lot of people out there that are doing some really good things. But the question is, so what happens after that?
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you want to continue to spread with someone? So if you take someone, for example, that has a great individual talent and nobody could do that, where does that go? It goes in, it doesn't go anywhere, you know. and especially if you don't share it with someone, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So my word of encouragement to especially people today is share what you do. It's okay, because that's what brings us together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, skating has brought us, like us,
Right.
has brought us together.
Exactly.
You know, because if it wasn't for that, it'd be like, oh, what is that? Who is he? Oh, I never heard of him before.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, oh, he did that. Oh, I didn't know that. You know, I have roller skating books, some history books on skating, and I've read about a lot of things that we don't even know about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people talk about, oh, we did this in the 1900s, and no, we didn't. You know, come on. When were we allowed in rinks?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We were allowed in rinks literally until pretty much the 50s.
Yeah.
We just couldn't go to a rink.
Mm-hmm.
So when we started, you know, then we started doing some things. But a lot of people think, oh, yeah, skating has been around a long time. Yeah, they've been doing that for a long time. No, they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you hear like ice, like we use ice a lot because even in skating today, we use a lot of ice skating terms like triple lutz or double flip or 180. Those come from ice skating moves.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I have been trying for the longest to encourage skaters. It's great to emulate dances of the world, with the wobble and Macarena and whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we have our own set of skate dances that I want to learn how to do the Richard Humphrey. I want to learn how to regular long and short. I want to learn how to do the Oz dance. I want to. How come we can't do that? You know?
Yeah.
And it's not hard, you know, because perfect example. As many times have I've gone online and said, that's not the downtown. That's called regular, long, short, and triple. Why can't you guys call it that?
Yeah.
Why can't we do the same thing in dance? You know? So you have the G slide. Everybody knows G slide. Not everybody knows it, but they see it, right? Oh, that's the G slide. So they give it its props. The slow walk. The slow walk, that's not new.
No, you know, I've been saying that for years. The slow walk is not new, but it just so happened it's almost like history repeats itself. So it's just coming back around. Everybody's like, oh, it's the greatest thing. But like, no, that's old.
Let me break it down like this. The first time people said, oh, that's the slow walk. And I go like, the slow walk? That's the beginner's walk. That's the beginner's walk.
Right.
If you've never really skated a dance and you get out on the floor, what do? You shuffle your feet.
First thing you do.
Shuffle your feet.
Shuffle your feet.
Right.
Shuffle your feet. So now it's the slow walk. Back in 1982, we did a dance, and one of the names we called the 2-2 shuffle. If you see that, and people go like, oh, that was 1982? That's 28 years ago. 38 years ago, right? 38 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'll pull up that video and go like, you guys called this the slow walk back in 1982. We called it the 2-2 shuffle, which I still call it to this day. The 2-2 shuffle. Because it was a move. It was a move that fitted into the dance choreography. The cool part about it is now everybody put their little swag into it.
Yeah.
And that's nice. That's a beautiful thing. But if people look back and look, they go like, oh, wow, this isn't new. You know?
Know your history.
The footwork is still the same.
Yep. Know your history.
You know what really blew me away? People, when I saw Michael Jackson do the moonwalk across that dance platform and at the 2005 or whatever music awards, people were blown away. Man, go on YouTube and type in moonwalk, and you'll see him doing that in the 30s, in the 40s. But
it wasn't
like,
Michael Jackson. Wow. See, that's all. It wasn't Michael Jackson.
They ain't have Jerry curl.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But my point is that if we look back and we look at a lot of the history of a lot of dance, we see a lot of moves and variations. Yeah. There are going to be those. We know that. But it's just like a song, right? You don't just take somebody's song and just chop the lyrics up just because you want to chop it up.
Mm-hmm.
Sing the song the way the song was meant to be sung, right? So, and I tell people, hey, this is what I choreograph. This is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Call it that. That's all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just call it what it is, and move on with it. Because so here's what I did. When I create a dance, it has to have a stopping point.
Mm-hmm.
No more. No more of those. I done enough cross front, cross back.
Mm-hmm.
24 of them, because video number 2 in my series is a continuation of 1, right? So I call it the Big 24. If I went out into the dance floor right now and said, okay, everybody, we're going to do the Big 24, they go like, what is the Big 24?
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have a clue. They wouldn't know the names of the steps. They wouldn't have a clue. So that's why I put a lot of emphasis on names of steps, whatever it may be. So, for example, the one step that nobody ever disputes is crazy walk, right? Nobody, because everybody do it. It's like the number 1 step in dance, crazy walk. Nobody knows where it started, where it came from. I don't know. I've done research, but it is the number 1 step. Everybody learns that. Every time you jump in front of a video, the first move everybody do is crazy walk, right? That's a beautiful thing. But there's a lot of other things, other moves out there other than the crazy walk. I mean, not crazy walk, but crazy
leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and a lot of people, this is what I found. So you asked me the question about people that are coming out wanting to learn. A lot of people don't have patience to learn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
People walk away.
Mm-hmm.
They go like, oh, that's too hard. They won't see them again.
Yeah.
And then somebody else come up and it just keeps repeating itself. One of my best friends that danced with me, we've talked about this for years. People come in, we want to show them. We want to say, come on, it don't cost you nothing. And then after like 3 steps, they go like, oh man, that's a lot to remember.
Yeah.
Get off to the sunset.
Yeah, they want to start running and don't want to walk first or crawl first.
Right. So roller dancing has always been special to me, and skating and whatever else I do, and I just love doing what I do. So
yeah. Wow. So how can the skaters connect with you?
Man, I'm actually very easy. Mm-hmm. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram. I'm pretty much on
Facebook.
Everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Facebook. I'm not a techie of any sort. All this TikTok stuff. I don't know what none of that stuff is. People are getting 100 million hits off of TikTok, and they just doing nothing. I'm like, wow, what is that?
Yeah.
I guess there's some things I just don't just get into. I just kind of just do me. You know what I mean? I just do me. I mean, it's flattering that I see things like that, but I'm easy to find. I was at a store one time not too long ago, and I was getting some business cards made, and I says, Google me. She said, what? I can Google you? So I said, yeah, Google me. Man, I Googled me and I was blown away.
I know. All that about me. So on your rollerdance.com, do you still teach classes on roller dance, or?
Oh yes, I have actually not teached. I mean, through this whole pandemic thing, I've actually been right here in my yard.
Yeah.
I've been teaching. I've missed a couple weeks, but I've been doing Zoom classes right here, which is a lot of fun. And I do teach every Sunday in San Francisco. But right now, all the studios are shut down, so we're just waiting to get started. I'm in the process of doing some really big workshops. I'm getting ready to I was going to do a workshop in Santa Cruz, but that's been pushed back. And I'm doing a really big workshop in September in Tehachapi at the Moxie Roller Skate Camp.
Okay.
And if you have you heard of Moxie?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Moxie's really big right now.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're hot right now. They like the TikTok of skates right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's the
Yeah.
TikTok of roller skating.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to have a really huge audience because it's already been sold out.
Mhm.
And a lot of these folks have been following people on Instagram and stuff. And I've been waiting for this opportunity for a very long time, believe it or not, to share what I do and talk about my history and what I've done and things like that. Sometimes people just need to hear from the horse's mouth instead of
Yeah, they
all
do.
over the place,
Right.
Right.
you know, because there's a lot of this and I did that and blah, blah, blah. And if you did do it, how come you're not doing it? And if you are, I don't see anything to show that you are doing it, you know?
Right.
Mhm.
So I've the one thing that I've always tried to do is just keep a presence to let people know that I'm active, that I'm still
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
And in the last 4 years, I've had 2 knee replacements, 2 complete knee replacements.
Wow.
So I have 2 brand new knees. I'm bionic right now.
I was about to
So
say, you like the
get
$6
ready.
million
That's what I'm
man.
gonna say. Now you back on.
Wow.
And people wouldn't know it if you watch me dance.
Mhm.
You know, so it's just a testament that something special about roller skating, because when I came off the surgery and I was wondering, will I be able to do this again? And I pushed myself and man, I've done some major accomplishments since I've had my knees replaced. I mean, just some cool things. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention that. So I know I did the Dr. Oz thing, but one of the coolest things that I did was a few years back before the Dr. Oz show. I was a stunt double for Damon Wayans on a show called Damon Wayans The Underground.
Oh wow.
And that was like the coolest thing in the world to actually do that with Damon Wayans. You know,
Wow.
that was fun. So I've done a lot of things, you know, but that particular, you know, the Damon Wayans, the Dr. Oz, and doing some of the other things that I've done, it's just been a lot of fun, you know, and especially when.
Oh, we lost your audio. Yep, somebody's calling you. Yeah. There you go.
But man, but when you have the opportunity to, if it comes your way, then go for it, you know?
Right.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because what I was going to say earlier was that, you know, like, I feel really good. I'll be 68 in October. And man, I feel really good.
Yeah. And you look really good.
Yeah, really. I'm like,
know,
man, he's out there doing it, skating.
And I used to say, you know, I used to look at people at 50 and 60, oh, he's old, you know?
Yeah.
And here I am, I'm going on 70 almost, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, old? Oh, man. So skating pushes me to the edge, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I could keep doing what I do on skates at 68, 69, 70, and people are having a hard time doing it at 20 and 25,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, I will continue to push skating as my platform, just to keep it going, because I have 2 boys. Neither one of them skating.
Oh man.
Broke my heart.
Oh man.
I could not pass it on to my 2 boys.
Mm-hmm.
So I have twin grandsons in Japan, and I'm hoping that maybe one day they're gonna put a pair of skates on. So when I went back to Japan when they were born, I had another pair of my no strings, and I left them there. I left them there in Japan, so they are there. I'm hoping one day if they grow into them, which I think they will, maybe they'll strap them skates on and go, you know, and start skating or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I want to pass it on. I mean, man, you know, I do all this stuff, and it's like, who do I share it with? So, you know, social media is my platform, and my students, you know, and I've met people from all over the world because of roller skating.
Mm-hmm.
Because of skating, we have the same passion.
Yeah.
this is what we love to do. You know, some people say, why you skate? Man, it's hard to describe to people sometimes why you love to skate.
Right,
because
it is.
Skating, especially dancing, has its own feel. It's a feeling that you just can't pass on to everybody. So that's why some people just stay in their own little world and just do what they do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad that I was able to learn some things over the years that I could share with some other people to jumpstart them. And those are some of the comments that I get from people. It's like, man, you got me roller skating, or you taught me how to backward skate through your videos and things like that. And so it feels good to be able to do something and help other people.
Wow.
You know?
Wow. Well, I can say I greatly appreciate you taking out the time to speak with us. You definitely have a lasting impact. And whether or not you realize it, you do have some children who do skate.
Yes.
Because
you're adopted children.
You're adopted children, you know, because you have definitely left the mark, definitely left an impact on the skate community. I remember growing up and hearing your name, you know, and I'm in my 40s. You know, so I greatly appreciate you for everything that you've done for the community. And I know I might speak for a lot of the other skaters that are out there too. We appreciate it, especially giving us the history on these moves, because, you know, it's always, you know, you see the stuff, and even some of these skate moves, we know the moves, but we don't know they have names to them.
Or where they came
from.
Or
where they came from.
Yeah, where they
you know? From. So I'm glad to get this history lesson. So now I can start correcting people. No, that ain't the downtown.
So we need to get our book. We need to get our book and our video.
Yes.
So we can start making corrections.
Yeah. So, but again.
Well, I was gonna say it was interesting because it's like when you're creating anything, you want it to have some substance,
right?
You know, because so when we use, like, for example, that particular term, the downtown, which to me is always what they refer to as one move. But in my book, when I explain it that step, that one move, is the one step that connects all the dots. If you take away that move, everything stops. So when I'm creating names, you know, for example, like I like to rhyme names. I like to names to flow, right? So I have a set of moves. This is kind of cool. In video number 2, I have the moves are 180, 360, the walk, the twist, the Humpty slide, crazy walk, heel toe. And then here's the cool part: head, fake, and snake. Those things right?
Yes.
So those didn't just pop out the air, right?
Yeah.
What is head? You know, da da da, ba ba ba. You know, what is fake? You know, and snake. So everything that I've done always had to have a flow. So when I create a dance, the dance has to have a flow of certain moves. So I don't just take moves from all these dances that I know and put them into one. I try to keep a continuity of the movement of the steps, right? So when you do these particular 13 steps, you don't have time to think. So like right now, I use this as an example all the time, because now when I watch people in the middle of the floor and they're giving directions and everybody's giving sign language, just like that takes like 12 minutes, right? Before you even get to the next step. Well, that's great. But man, you know, flow. It just goes right. So when we watch dance shows on TV, people don't realize most of those dance shows, you only have 90 seconds to perform. 90 seconds.
Yeah.
You don't have 12 minutes to give directions before the next step starts.
Right.
They got the flow. You got to do it. So these are the kind of things that I try to teach in choreography, that you don't have time to think like that. Everything's afloat. You don't have time to think. So that's what I try to pass on. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because that's what they do. That's the young generation right now. But as you learn, it's okay to learn a different way.
Right.
So because that's why you don't see a lot of us on TV. Every time we get on it, we've had 2 shows right now that I know of. We've got booed off the stage. That's not a great presentation for roller dance. We have some ladies in LA, from LA, that went on Steve Harvey and says, I'm a roller dancer. And says, what are you gonna do? We're gonna keep it wheel. And then they start figure skating. That's not a reflection of what roller dance is.
Yeah.
So when you ask me about, do I frown? That particular night, I frowned.
I bet. I can imagine.
Like, that's not a reflection, right? Not at all. That's not what we do, because we have created our own styles. I want to make one point, but if I have just to say a minute.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of styles out there. We know that, right? But when I was coming up and skating, and especially when I really started skating a lot, there were really no names for styles. We just skated. Think about it. We just went to the rink. We just skated. We didn't call it, because I live in Chicago, that's the Chicago. We just skated. I mean, I skated in South San Francisco. We didn't call it the South San Francisco. That was just our Friday night skate. So I know a lot of times with debates, and we've always called it this and stuff like that. So because I'm a 50s baby, I grew up on James Brown. So we have the James Brown style, right? I grew up on James Brown, went to shows. I watched James Brown, emulated James Brown. What do you think we do when we go to the roller rink? Skate like James Brown. We try to do moves. We do splits. We do jumps. It's a style now. They said this is the JB style. I don't argue that. That's a great point. But my point is that I skated with James Brown too. I grew up on James Brown. And it's always been kind of in my soul as, for James Brown, So I think it's a beautiful thing that people separate it, but I just want to make a point that I'm a James Brown skater, even though I'm not a JB'er. You know what I'm saying? So, because I all the stuff that they're doing now, those splits and rollovers and walking on their hands and all that, we did all that. We did all that. And so, and then when I heard that, I was like, man, that's a JB style. And then I'm going, man, we do the same thing.
Right.
So, but it's great. It brings us together and everything. And I just want to bring that point up just for that I skate to James Brown. I still listen to James Brown.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to still do the whatever James Brown's doing.
Yeah.
So I'm not stealing a style because I always that's kind of the point that I want to make. So I'm not stealing a James Brown style, I'm just doing what I've always done. They say, oh yeah, that's called the JB. I was like, really? We called it Crazy Legs. We call a lot of different things.
Yeah.
So now things got names. So and that's a good thing. So I just want to continue to see the skate world grow.
Yes, indeed.
And all that stuff. And I hope it continue to bring us together and not divide us. Because we don't need to divide right now. We just need to just come together and enjoy what we do have. Because a lot of it is gone now. We don't have what we had. So we got to make the best of it. And let's continue to just share what we do and keep skating alive in the best way we know how. And thank you guys, because I think this is beautiful. I could see myself sitting there asking a million questions to someone.
Yeah.
Hey.
We're waiting for you to come to H-Town.
You come back, hey.
So, man, and I try to travel. I'm trying to get it in. I'm trying to get it in now, while I can. I was going to do the, Skate-a-thon was like the best thing in the planet, and I tried to get to other parties, but But this year, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna make it because I got the skate camp that I'm gonna be doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And, so I'll still be out there doing my thing, you know. But this is what we need to continue to do. We don't need to tear each other down. We need to build each other up.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
Right. Right. Yeah. Agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
You know, because we're responsible for keeping the culture alive. We have to keep pushing it forward. So I definitely agree with you on that. So, but yeah, we're going to talk some more. We'll definitely keep in touch. We actually have something that we do called Connect After Dark. So you may be interested on being one of the panelists on there one of these times. You know, it's kind of raw and uncut, but you know, there's a lot of things that need to be talked about in the skate community that need to be addressed. And again, we can't fix it if we don't address it. So, you know,
we need to talk. I mean, we need to come together and talk.
Yeah.
You know, instead of squabbling, because that's not going to do anything.
Yeah, it's not going to do anything at all. So again, we greatly appreciate you for being on. Definitely
sharing the history.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you out on the wood again. You know, and all this stuff kind of clears up, and you know, it's crazy.
No, it's crazy. But you know what? If this didn't do anything else, I've seen a lot of creativity because of it.
Oh yes, definitely.
That is true.
Definitely that.
People are being very creative right about now, and so when I think about people in their basements and on the kitchen floors and all that stuff, I think back to the 70s. That's what I was doing because nobody was doing what I was doing. So I'm trying to create something for the future, you know, and I'm glad I'm still alive to be able to share what I'm doing.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So all right. So again, listeners, viewers, you know, we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys follow him. Make sure you guys reach out to him, both with knowledge, history. And if you got any questions about where some of the moves came from, y'all make sure.
Rolladance.com.
Yes. Definitely go there and check it out.
And my YouTube page is Rolladance Man.
Rolladance Man on YouTube.
Rolladance Man.
Good deal.
Yeah, that's, you know, people got names out there in skate world, right? So I was trying to think of something cool for me.
So Rolladance Man.
I call myself the Rolladance Man.
The Rolladance Man. Okay. Good deal. All right, you guys. So until next time, we will see you guys on the wood.
Okay.
So we want to thank you for sharing with us. If you want